When I was like checking in to do this,
Yeah.
the words that kept coming were like delightful.
Lipo and Kambo.
Yeah.
I love it.
But like honor delightfulness.
Aww.
So thank you for bringing that already.
You're welcome. Thanks for receiving that.
Yeah.
Bringing it.
Usually like I start with a moment just of silence to attune, quiet. You down for that?
Sure.
Okay. It's just however long you need to kind of. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, when I was thinking about doing this last time, I was out on the coast, and like the thing I connected to first was like how grateful I am for COVID, because I feel like I get to know you a lot more because of that. For like context, you're like one of my closest friends' partners, and I think because like we kind of bubbled up, you know. That's unofficially bubbled up. Bubbling up without a lot of rules. Yeah, I just really feel like so happy to know you. So I'm really grateful you're doing this, and like one of the kind of inspirations I've had for a long time and wanting to like produce things or whatever is there's like so many like beautiful like luminous beings that just like hang out in the background. Not that you hang out in the background, you know, but there's like this, seems like there's this sort of like a tier of people that are public, and then there's like all the rest of us. So yeah, I just wanted to like maybe shine some light on your life. And like I had to think of a reason to do that. I mean, we could just talk, you know, but like Kambo seems like a great sort of anchor to a conversation.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you start just like the briefest of like what Kambo is even?
Yeah, and thank you for your kind words, and it's super mutual, and likewise, so that means a lot.
Yeah.
So Kambo, Kambo, also known as Sapo, Sapo.
Is that regional difference there, the name?
Yeah, and Sapo means toad, so really a lot of it is kind of the confluence of Spanish and tribal and, you know, frog, toad, you know, kind of a misnomer.
Oh, okay. Like
type of thing.
Species identification stuff.
Yeah, you know, so it is from the Phylomedusa bicolor frog. It's a tree frog. So philo means leaf and Medusa means protector. So it's a tree frog, which is really cool. So they're actually quite abundant. You know, frogs that are more water dwellers are a little bit, they have more like fish, and other water dwelling beings are a predator. So they have some predators, but they're actually quite in abundance.
So the tree protectors, leaf protectors don't have a lot of predatory.
Yeah, their predators are going to be like snakes. So as their defense mechanism, they produce this secretion on their back.
Okay, so it's a porous through the skin secretion. So like the
I would imagine so.
Toads that you have to squeeze out.
Totally. Yeah. So it happens on their back, and so the idea of that is that if a snake were to attempt eating it, it would secrete this product, and it would immobilize. It would defend itself from the snake. Mm-hmm. So that is what Kambo is.
So how does it go from being like a adaptive protection from snakes to like a healing medicine?
Well,
not that you know like total history of Kambo, but
I mean, like off the cuff, I'd be like, well, that's magic, you know. But so in that is it's enriched with, it has a multitude of peptides. Okay. So
like, I don't even know what a peptide is.
So peptide is a chain of amino acids, up to 25 amino acids. Then beyond that, you have a protein. So proteins are also chains of amino acids.
So proteins are just a lot of amino acids, and peptides are like a little less? Okay.
Yep. So, and then in those peptides is where the experience comes from. That's where that medicine is. So there's, you know, there's a one for pain. There's so many, and that's what ends up creating the reactions that one will experience through Kambo. Elevated heart rate, sweating, purging, etc., etc.
Yeah, so like for folks that don't know, like from what I only understand a little bit, like you put the poison into the skin, like you burn a hole to make a receptor for the poison, and then when it comes on, there is like an intense sort of, what would you call it? Like what is it? Quick?
Yeah, it's definitely an experience, right? So
like you know you're having an experience. It's not like smoking CBD or something where like, wait, is that happening or not? Or like aspirin sometimes where like I think it's helping, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I'd say unless something was really an outlier, yeah, something is going to happen. Oh. Yeah, so you do make little subcutaneous burns.
Thank you, subcutaneous.
Subcutaneous. So traditionally in the jungles, they'll use a vine to make the burn mark. Oh, yeah. We actually use little incense sticks that burn hotter, so you don't have to press as hard or as long.
Oh, so like a hot incense stick.
It's like a coal. You're using like a little coal, and the burn is actually really quick and pretty painless. Like the first one's like
a little scared of the burn.
Yeah. I used to be too, and now I'm just like, right. Like the first one is like, and then the next one you're like, oh, okay. It's like if somebody were to, you know, pinch you just a little bit, and then again you're like, oh, okay, whatever, it's fine. Yeah.
So like when someone has it, they know they're in the experience of the medicine pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly. So for a first time client, for a first time treatment, in the training that I went through, we do an assessment point. So in your first initial treatment, the basic treatment, we say we offer 3 to 7 points, and those are at about 1/8 of an inch. So they're pretty small. It's just really the tip of, you know, of an incense stick. So pretty small. So, you know, we determine between 3 and 7 points, and then we'll open them all up. Like I'll place a cool paper towel on it so it'll blister, and then we want to make sure that the skin is open. We'll put the Kambo on just one of those points and watch and observe how the medicine is affecting you. Generally, there's a reaction within 90 seconds. It's a vasodilator. So I don't know if you've ever had like niacin or something. Yeah. So that's a vasodilator. Opens everything up.
Cayenne's a vasodilator too, right? Or am I making that up?
I couldn't confirm nor deny.
Internet.
But it does that. So it opens everything up. You'll feel your heartbeat. You'll hear your heartbeat a little bit more audibly, like boom, boom. It'll pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we'll use that to assess, you know, how to move forward with the points, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so there's this, like, you know, tree frog that protects the leaves.
Yeah.
That at some point is, like, discovered, I imagine a long time ago, to have, like, a healing property and maintained for many years by like these different traditions, and it seems like there's like different iterations of the traditions depending where you're at in South America.
Correct.
Like how did you find your way into relationship with Kambo? Like why is it in your life? And I like when I ask that, I'm also curious too, like I imagine there's a bit of a healing journey there of like what kind of set you forward to like want to discover like what you needed to heal, like from, and I mean we've all been through life, right? So we all need to heal.
What are you talking about? Nothing's happened to me.
Yeah. Not like Keri, let's give everyone your list of traumas. I just sort of more curious of like the journey that it took to find Kambo and like what it means to you.
Yeah, thank you. And to touch back on the story, I feel like I'll do a little tangent.
Oh yeah, you know me, I love
about the folklore story of the origins of Kambo is, and I can't speak to it precisely, but essentially the story is that there was a man, a shaman, I believe, whose tribe was very sick. And he ended up going on a journey essentially into the jungle, and really offered his life and became the spirit of the frog medicine. And so it's said, believed like that's its origin, its folk story, origin story, and where Kambo came from. So
there's a healer within a community, and this community is in need, and out of like a heartfelt sort of desperation almost, he goes to the jungle and like asks to be helped. And then like some version of this comes to him.
And then he became...
In order to be a carrier or to offer this healing, he had to become like the medicine himself.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of as this, a martyr or an offering of his life and his love for his people. And then that ended up being an effective cure for his community. Yeah. Yeah. So
And you found yourself towards this cure?
Yeah. So I found Kambo. The first time I did Kambo was probably about 5 or so years ago. Some friends had done it, and then we all did a ceremony, if you will, a treatment together. And
are you in the States when this is happening? Or?
Correct. Yeah, okay. And Kambo is totally legal. So I had a really special experience from Kambo at that point, and then had subsequent treatments, sessions with Kambo that were really, really special. And so arriving upon that was along the lines, and I came to it from, my pursuit of wealth, wellness, and holism. I think that Western medicine has some really amazing and awesome applications. And also in my personal journey and experience, I've found so much healing through nature, through plants, through herbs. And so Kambo is, it's nature. We are nature. And so I really appreciate, I appreciate indigenous wisdom. And it's an honor and humbling to get to participate and facilitate.
And to be a carrier in some ways now of this sort of long-standing tradition.
Correct. Yeah, it's a strong medicine, and it has helped so many people in really amazing ways, in physical, personal, emotional, mental, through addictions, through diseases, and I'm not, I can't say it does that for sure. But it has
like a lot of these sort of things, right? Like,
right.
There's not a guarantee what's given. So like 5 years ago, you find Kambo, and like I imagine a bit surprised by like what it offered you in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, not that you were like, oh, this thing's fake or anything, but like it stood out enough that you wanted to learn to offer it to others too.
Right.
And like at this point in your journey, it's not like the first thing, right? You like didn't go to like one yoga class and like, now I'm gonna be a yoga teacher. Like you already were a yoga teacher, I imagine, and have traveled like the world kind of looking for healing and worked with a bunch of people. So it wasn't like your first doorway into like alternative or even indigenous healing.
Correct.
What stood out to you around Kambo, even compared to some of the other different like skillful means or ways you were pursuing healing? Like, why did that speak to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I mean, why did it speak to me? That's the question. I don't know if that I have that answer, but I am pursuing that mystery, and I'm grateful for it. So what's the question again?
So kind of like you've done stuff already. It wasn't new to you. Like, what about Kambo stood out to you? What stood out to you in your experience? Like the flavor of healing, or like maybe it was like a piece of your healing journey that wasn't acknowledged yet, and like you kind of needed. Like, why does it sort of fit in there for you as having importance, kind of with all the other things you've done in your life?
You know, it's a great teacher, and I find it to be one of the ways it's a great teacher is that it can be challenging.
Oh.
And I had a coach once, and she would always say, "You're stronger than you think you are."
Yeah.
And I think that is something that we've forgotten, that we don't remember or realize. And I think that that's true at so many points. And so I think that it invites you to awaken to your strength, and in such a humble way. It's so humbling.
Like the impact that the medicine has on you.
Yeah.
And the way it sort of washes over you, and I imagine sort of brings you to your knees.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the strength is. You know, it's not like, I just did that, yeah, I'm awesome. It's like, holy shit, that was really hard. And so I think that the strength comes from the humility of that experience, and from willpower, from endurance, from finding yourself through that. You know, it's just like doing something that's difficult.
Yeah.
You must tap in, right? You must tap in. And I appreciate that initiation and that reminder.
Yeah, that reminder that if you let go in a way, like into the humbling process, you can maybe discover a quality of strength that is forgotten, like in the daily struggle.
Yeah, exactly. There's a surrender. Exactly, that was the perfect word, and allowing of that. And you know, it's like you can only carry so much when you're going through it. So you realize, what am I carrying that I don't need? You know, like, how am I making this more difficult than it needs to be?
Yeah.
And you know, it's yeah.
I love that notion you're describing, and the way I'm hearing it, please correct me, is like a refiner almost, like really clarifying what matters, and like what can be, like what should be let go of even, or what's like a burden.
Yeah.
And kind of pointing to you like, whoa, why are you holding all these 8 pieces? Like, you just need this one piece. Maybe.
Yeah, and kind of like, and you can't carry it all, you know, like being in agony, you know, like if you're carrying so much, and you then realize, no, you don't need to, you can't, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, we as people, like myself, definitely included, and like people I work with, we hold so much, and like sometimes consciously, like we hold on to things that we don't think we can let go of.
Right.
They like need to be definers or part of our story, or even things we're still upset by or hurt by. But then there's like the whole litany of unknown things we're still holding on to too. That like, you're only kind of like, oh wait, like I've been holding on to that. Like I had no idea.
Right. Yeah, and there's so many like beautiful fables on that, right? The guys and the carrying the woman over the river, and she didn't say thank you. You're still carrying her.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, that's a Zen story.
Right?
Thank you for bringing in a Zen story.
And you know, upon my reflection of my personal growth and unpacking some of those things, I feel that compartmentalization is. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it can get you bad, right? It's like, it's not always time to unpack everything.
Oh, yeah.
But if not now, then when, right? That Eckhart Tolle, or that quote is, you know, is attributed to many different people.
Yeah, it reminds me of like an LSD journey I had where, because I like to get into things, like I'm a therapist, and like, oh, let me get it all out. Like, I even heard you talk about like, I'm just gonna heal all my ancestral healing in this one weekend.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Casual.
And there was like a mole on the ground, and it was on the surface, and I was just sitting with this mole, and I was looking at it, like in the way like psychedelics draw you into something, and I was just like, oh my god, you don't belong here. You should be underground. And then I looked over at my partner, and I looked back, and the mole's gone, and it goes back underground. I'm like, oh. I was like so relieved to see it underground. And then I like was walking kind of back to the campsite, and I was like, oh, it's okay to like let some things be underground. That like that's where they belong for a time, and that like maybe when they show up, you work with them.
Exactly.
So like you can compartmentalize, like not even compartmentalize, but like
Yeah.
let things be in process.
Right.
And then like they come up, and it sounds like Kambo is this facilitator of helping you see the things that are up right now.
Correct. Yeah.
And then I'm like talking out of turn. I've never done this, so I'm
Totally.
like, we're about to do it in a little bit, but like I'm just trying to glean a bit of like what this medicine provides on some level.
Because you've studied nature and you've had other experiences, and there's a common thread of here's a reflection.
Yeah. Do you feel that sort of, because you've worked with other medicines that are good reflectors?
Yeah.
Like how is what type of reflector is Kambo? Like how does it, and the tree medicine or the jungle medicine, whatever is part of it, right? Like I don't know, but like how does it show you? Like what's it like? Because it feels like there's different ways that medicines or healing traditions, whatever you want to call it, like will show you your stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel like all of them have their somewhat own unique process, but at the same time, every journey is still different than the previous one.
Yeah, you can't generalize, right? Because like each time it's gonna be different, and there's some sense of like we say the word spirit, right? Maybe for a reason. There's like a spirit, like an imbued quality where you feel even in the diversity of experiences, like you're still with, I imagine, Kambo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, so I can speak to my experience, right? Yeah. For me, so I can speak to my experience, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I've had, an array of types of experiences with the medicine.
Maybe just share some of the ones that stand out to you, and if that are kind of feel available to be shared publicly.
Totally. It's interesting. I've had some that were completely gut-wrenching, where I was literally floored, like face down on the floor and wanting to be there because it was so hot and the floor was cool. It was just like
you were like seeking relief,
and it was just like being a little bit shredded and wrung out, and just anything, like I'll put my face to the floor next to the toilet, whatever, like it wasn't at that point, but and so there was one specifically at a training that I did that it was really, really, really challenging.
And how long are you like in that? I don't know what time is like even when you're with the medicine, but like how long are you kind of in that floored state for?
So I think just with so many other kinds of journeys, can be a bit of a vortex, as can times in life, COVID.
Yeah, like I was at a gas station the other day, and like time dissolved. I was just waiting for the guy to come pump the gas, and I was like, it felt like an eternity.
Totally.
Like it's not just psychedelics to span time.
And Kambo not being a psychedelic, but a challenging experience, right?
Yeah.
So I've had some where it was, and particularly I've witnessed it more in clients where it was like, wow, that was 30 minutes. That seemed like 30 seconds. And oh my God, that was 10 minutes, that seemed like an hour, so it can work in all directions. For me, one of the experiences that is, so on that same training, there was the experience that I was totally floored, totally wrung out, and then a couple days later, I did another treatment where I felt like I was in a peaceful void of just, and from other experiences that I've had, I was able to pull some wisdom from those experiences of, okay, you're here, like, now what do you want to look at? Sometimes I feel like medicine's an experience in life is like, look at this, and you're like, but I wanted to, and it's look at this.
Yeah, like the demand quality of like, you are going to look at this, or this will be very painful. Yeah. If you look at it, we can move on to other things.
Yeah. So resist, intense, blah, blah, blah. And so I had a really intense one, and then I had entered this peaceful void. And so then I was like, okay, I'm here. I want to do this. you know, like what do I want to look at? What do I want to work on? And so I was like, this relationship, this dynamic, this blah, 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 you know, and was just there. And so much to the point where my dear practitioner, I was really just like, don't even talk to me, you know, like I'm fine, you know, like I didn't want to have anything to do with anything else. Like I wanted to be in that, you know, it's like you're in the best dream, you know, you're in a dream that you're doing something, you're occupied, you're captivated. So, you know, it just, it expands beyond.
And were you able to sort of work through, because you just gave a long list of things
I
there.
gave a long list without really naming them.
No, but like, were you able to, like, in that sort of peaceful void, when you named what you wanted attention or what you wanted to work through, like, did that happen for you? Like, yeah, it
created some really like significant shifts. Yeah, it was special. It was monumental in my personal life.
Like, and it sounds like there's like a real difference there between when something is confrontive, like you have to deal with it, versus like an ownership, like you wanted to work through these things. Like you could have rested in the void.
Yeah.
It was peaceful, right? It wasn't the sort of fearful void, the like annihilation void, like
right.
that. It sounded like a womb-like quality almost.
Yeah.
And you chose to go in.
I knew how hard I had worked to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not gonna waste this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I knew that was a gift.
Yeah.
And really, it's like you have this ball of clay and it's hard, and then suddenly it's been worked and worked and worked, and all of a sudden you're in this pliable place, and you know that you, like, I knew that I was pliable. I knew my mind, my heart, my soul, it was like ready.
Well, after that journey, how did your life change? I mean, that sounds like almost a shift in attitude or relationship. Like, what did you notice sort of from, I say journey, I mean, I don't mean like psychedelic, just the treatment. The journey of the treatment. Yeah,
and that's good discernment, because, you know, Kambo isn't psychedelic, you know, but humans are, you know, and like, everything really is, but, you know, there's
like,
not psychedelic constituents.
Yeah, like healing to, like, psychedelic is a healer, and all healing is a journey. Yeah. So like when people say journey, to me it's like there's a category that's psychedelic, and there's all the other ones too.
Yeah, no, and I think that I just really wanted to specify on that, because so many people are like, it was a journey, and it's like, well, let's break that down.
Yeah. But
just understand
this healing journey, like this time-oriented healing journey with the poison medicine, not the psychedelic medicine, but the poison medicine, afforded this space, and then it sounds like you shifted from there. I'm just curious, like, after that, what you noticed.
You know, more ease and harmony. I'd say harmony with dynamics that really I had spent a long time working on. And so one of the things that I find Kambo has the capacity of doing is helping remove blockages. And often that's a physical thing. You know, I feel like it is a pressure washer or like a Brillo brush. Sometimes it's a soft buffer, you know, but it can be deep on our cells, you know, and not medically proven, of course, but I think that it can do that to our minds and hearts. Yeah. Well,
I mean, they're all an integrated experience, right? Like the body is mind and
it's
heart.
It's a fabric, you know. Yeah.
So, like, a part of me, like a bit of my rational mind, just when thinking about this, is like, okay, so it's like it activates sort of humility through the intensity of the experience. Is humbling and kind of opens you to strength. And there's like a lot of things that do that. Like, and I imagine like a lot of poisons could do that. Like if you take the right dose of a poison and just kind of like, what about combos? Is it just like a poison that's challenging you, or is there something more there when you engage it yourself? Like, I know you can only really speak from yourself.
Yeah, and I think, and that's such a great wisdom, right? That what is, I can't remember it verbatim, but it's that poison or the lethality that is in the dosage.
Yeah, I think that's an alchemical thing from the like Middle Ages, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the dosage, right? So we've got that, and then the question was
like, is it just like sort of a poison that puts you to the floor, and that's a healing experience to be put to the floor?
Oh, right. And if
or
it's
is there
something
more
than
like
that.
more of a spirit there, or more of a sort of quality of consciousness that the Kambo holds that meets you with?
Totally. I personally identify as an animist.
Yeah.
So I feel like life. I've got these plant friends all around. I try to respect, the physical items that are in my life. Cotton was a plant, wood, all these things. And so I think that respecting those is out of respect of life itself. So in my experience, I think that there's something more to that. And that's something that I don't ever want to project, like I empower everyone and want to meet everyone
discover their own
they're
sort of,
at. That's not your jam? Cool.
Yeah.
Like, here's the list of the peptides, like, here's the science behind it. Personally, because I've also had such emotional and personal experiences, sure, it could be attributed back to it was very physical, but like, again, like, it sounds like, I share that belief that it's all interwoven, it's fabric. So yeah, even when I was deciding on doing my training, the second part of it, I went backpacking and I went swimming in this lake and waterfall, and I came back to the shore, and there was one lone frog sitting on a rock that was looking at me. And part of this journey, this trip, I was like, part of my personal work was I was like, I'm going to think about this training.
Like, that was part of your intentionality in the backpacking trip, was to like debate or consider what this means to you.
Totally.
And should you move forward or not?
Mm-hmm. Sit with it and decide. And then I sat on the rock, so I kind of leapfrogged around it, so to speak. And then the frog eventually turned itself around and was perched on this rock and was just staring at me for like 20 minutes. And I found humor in that, because I was like, wow, could there be anything clearer? Could there be a clearer message? And I believe in divination and all that jazz.
You went to the forest and into nature for a divine message, right? You were seeking one,
right.
So
divine defined.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you've kind of gone from someone that knew of Kambo as a sort of indigenous healing experience that people can go through, and then experience it yourself and kind of gain benefit from it, what do you see changing for yourself as you become someone that facilitates these treatments for others? Like, what do you notice about your relationship to Kambo, as I imagine there's a different sort of seat you're holding now in relationship to the medicine?
Yeah, I mean, so much of offering the treatment is holding space.
Yeah.
The experiences can be really intense for people. They might be gentle. I trust in the wisdom of the medicine for each person, for us to get exactly what we need. And so that might be you end up crying. That might be you are purging, and the list goes on and on. And so really it's holding witness for the client, for the person receiving Kambo, to have that experience without me getting in the way. Like, I'm there as a facilitator, as a medium. Like, I'm holding space. I'm not judging.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm witnessing and keeping my heart open for you in all that you're going through. Yeah, that because like we can be so self-conscious. We've been told you must look this way and do this, and I'm like, you know what, you might cry, you might poop your pants. Like, I'm not gonna like your statements. I know, we'll just go there.
Yeah.
You know, it's all okay.
Yeah, you're gonna maybe shit yourself, you're gonna throw up.
You're gonna throw up.
You might freak out. You might
freak out.
like no longer be composed and
Yeah.
together and like all that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stay grounded through that. Like, I'm gonna stay anchored, and I'm going to anchor that for you.
Yeah, that it's okay to go through this.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're human. Humans
Yeah.
are crazy. Life is weird.
We shit ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, might happen.
Literally
Totally
and
not
metaphorically.
Yeah. Hopefully more metaphorically, you know.
Like when you're like in a
That's
meeting or something, or you like misstep words and
Yes.
feel ashamed, you can like remember like, oh, I shat myself last week while doing Kambo. Like, this is nothing. I can ride out the shame
great.
wave.
Don't trust the fart. Yeah, so it's holding space.
Yeah, and it
You
sounds
know.
like for holding space for you is like there is a deep trust in the process.
Yeah.
That you trust this medicine to do its job,
Mm-hmm.
and you have confidence that the reaction that someone's having, and a lot of times it sounds like Kambo like not that great like great in air quotes reactions, that they're like of the intense, at times painful variety.
Yeah. Yeah, we can judge it in that way.
Yeah, well, it's not like some of the maybe other medicines, right? Where there's
Totally.
bliss or like it's hard and blissful, like.
Yeah.
Or oneness with the universe and all these things that can come, like you're gonna be throwing up and
Right. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
might be all you get out of it.
Yeah, but it's exactly that. It's trusting the medicine. It's trusting myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's stepping back and again really trusting. You know, I would also identify as a helper. So that's
you are
something.
a Cancer, right? You are the zodiac's embodiment of helper.
Yeah, I like to help. You know, and so I get to learn how to help in a way that's not getting in the way.
Oh, it's teaching you how to help in a way.
Yeah, how to become more sophisticated at that. I feel, you know, by stepping back. It's like
Yeah.
me helping is by not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for so many people that are helpers that get pulled in, right? They want to make it better.
Yeah, one of the best quotes that I had a teacher say to me and our class in my yoga teacher training was, let the struggle happen.
Yeah.
And that can be really hard because, like, why are we doing that? Like, that's the question. Why are you doing that? Is it because you're uncomfortable? Is it, you know, and in my training, my amazing teacher, Ginny, talks about, you know, the interconnectedness of the victim, the persecutor, and the helper, victim, helper, persecutor. And so those archetypes can be really helpful. They've been really helpful in looking at that, right? So like, why a scenario like, why do I want to help that person? They're in so much discomfort. And it's like, oh, because like maybe I have that wound where I was hurting once and I didn't feel like anyone was helping me. So I'm going to help this person. I'm going to project and play out my drama in their drama, or I'll persecute somebody for not helping, or, you know, it's just, it can be a cycle.
Yeah.
So checking your agenda and removing yourself from that experience and treatment is really amazing. So it's really important for me as a practitioner to check myself.
Yeah, I could see on one level you're the persecutor because you like burn them, put some poison in them, and they're having a really intense reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then like maybe the helper gets turned like, oh, I should do it, and it's like
Right, because and then maybe they're like, I'm a victim, help me, or like, fuck you, like
why
get out
did
of
you
my
do
hair.
this to me, or what's happened to me? Is this okay? Like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was on like a therapeutic psilocybin journey, and like I kept challenging the mushroom. I was like, is this helpful? Like, is this helpful? And then they kept saying, like, just fucking wait till the end. But I can imagine, right, like someone looking to you, like, what, is this normal? Is this right? And you're trying to step back and like be grounded and centered and also say like, stay with it.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Is like, because our nervous systems are contagious as well, right?
Yeah.
And my responsibility is keeping my nervous system grounded.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think about it sometimes as being like, you're in the, like, there might be a storm, but be in the eye of the storm, you know, like, find your bearings and breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe. People will breathe if you're breathing. And that can be challenging, and what a way to grow. That's how we grow.
Yeah.
That's how we grow. You know, there's either you know, I've been studying clinical herbalism, and we talk about you know, we've got our parasympathetic nervous system where we chill out, where we rest and restore. And then we have our sympathetic nervous system where we are challenged. And that's where new growth happens, neurogenesis, epigenetics, you know, that's where our minds can grow. However, if we don't have time to rest and restore and integrate, then that's not going to happen. You know, there needs to be a perfect balance between them. So we need to have that challenge, and we need to know that we have that, as well as nourishing ourselves, or that will be of waste and burnout. And
sorry, there's like an emptiness. It usually means there's a question I'm waiting for. Yeah, this sort of, there's something here for me around like putting ourselves through it. Like you know, I was once on like a meditation retreat where they had a sweat lodge from a Native American, I don't know the right words are these days, but like First Nation. I think First Nation from Canada. But he led some sweats during this meditation retreat, and we were like comparing the difference between sort of like this Buddhist approach to healing and being on the life journey, and the Native American approach. And the guy kind of like looked at me, he wasn't looking at me, it's like a crowd, but like I heard him, he was like, we make ourselves suffer so that we suffer less in life. And it just seems, there seems something around that with the Kambo, and I'll maybe find that out for myself, but like choosing to put yourself in it. And I don't know if this resonates for you, if anything comes online as I say this, for your own self, and like choosing the challenge, like choosing the face on the ground, and like what that means for you, like in your own.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things it makes me think of. One of the fun things it makes me think of is Joseph Campbell, and talking about the hero's journey. And you know, he talks about that our calling is calling, you know, and it starts off as a whisper, and when we don't listen, it becomes a sledgehammer, right? And I feel like we've all probably had that sledgehammer. And so it is the hero's journey, is learning how to go through challenging things. Another friend of mine talked about the topic of rejection, and he said that rejection is it's a rite of passage, and that in our culture we have set up so many ways to not go through that, so much comfort. And you know, I feel like the way that we're set up today, we're a little bit void of challenges that are really for our own good.
Like what you were talking earlier about the nervous system, and like when in the sympathetic state, that's when the growth happens.
That's when that pathway is made, right? And then, I mean, it's a cycle. It's not just in part A or part B, it's in the cycle of it, because then the integration part is like how it happens.
Yeah, like people that are trapped in sympathetic responses have PTSD.
Yeah.
Like it's not good to just be in the state of challenge always.
No, you can't go.
Yeah, you gotta let it be integrated and brought in, and work through the nervous mind system, and allow for those new possibilities once you're restored. Yeah. But and your friend was naming rejection and
and fill in the blank, you know. All those things.
And like, do you see this as a way of challenging?
Yeah, you know, there's a really great story about a naturalist who was farming, was growing some butterflies. And so, well, pre-butterflies, butterflies in the making. And so they were in their cocoon, their chrysalis, and he saw that it was time, you know, baby bird hatching out. And he was like, well, I'm gonna like help them. And he started to peel back their little cocoons. But because of that, the butterflies didn't survive.
Yeah, that challenge of emerging from the how do you say chrysalis?
Chrysalis?
From the chrysalis itself, like gives them the strength to be butterflies.
Yeah. And that's theirs. I also think about that as like a little bit of like stealing. Like that's theirs.
Yeah, that's their journey.
It's theirs.
Yeah.
It's their suffering. That's theirs. They earned that.
Yeah.
That's their gift. I
Yeah.
heard one woman coin, you know, this kind of thing is like a dark gift.
Yeah.
But it's a gift nonetheless. Like that's for each of us to go through. And that's not mine to take. That's not
Yeah.
anyone's to take. And it can be tempting too because we are sympathetic beings and empathetic.
Mhm.
But we gotta learn those boundaries.
So you're just gonna like let me go through this? You're gonna do it?
There, you know, and that's where I trust myself.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like, well, is he good? He's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm on vigilant standby, but I'm not on